Hi, welcome into another Zoot fishing video. My name is Ivan Zoot, and well, you know what? I'm usually fishing. I'm recording this video during the Christmas week of 2024, so I'm down in the studio. I'm at the backdrop. Normally I would be outside. You'd see trees, water, maybe fish, things like that, because, you know, it's fishing. Should we be shooting fishing videos in the basement? Not if we can avoid it. But hey, it's cold. I live up north. So I want to invite you to like and comment on the video once we get into the content here. Share the video with someone who fishes or someone who should. Turn on notifications and subscribe to the channel. Never miss a video. The video series is all about me sharing my fishing adventures because, well, I enjoy that, and two, trying to see to it that you get more enjoyment and joy out of the fishing that you do. This is a product video, and we're talking about Tiny Tenkara. This is my Tiny Tenkara, the original Tiny Tenkara rod, and I'm a big fan of this rod. I'll talk about it in other videos, but this is not really an unboxing video because, well, it's already out of the box. But this is my brand new Tiny Tenkara, and it's a Tiny 10 number 3. Birthday gift. My birthday was this week. My wife got this for me as a gift. Let's not think she stumbled upon it on her own. I emailed her the link. And a big shout out to our friends at Tiny Tenkara because she bought it on the Black Friday sale. The folks at Tiny Tenkara offered up huge discounts for Black Friday shortly before my birthday. I knew when the box showed up at the house, and I had to just sit quietly and wait till my birthday showed up for her to give it to me. But we're going to talk a little bit about what's in this package. I was excited to open up the tube and get that Tiny Tenkara out. I have not fished it yet. I'll be honest, I have not fished my Tiny 10-3 yet. I've done a lot of fishing on the Tiny 10-2, and I'll show you one way you can tell that there's some real mileage on this thing. But when I first got my Tiny 10 number 1, love this rod. Been very, very happy with it. I catch a ton of bluegill with this, fishing ponds, fishing small rivers, and a lot of creek fishing in my area on the Tiny 10. Lots and lots of bluegill, lot of creek chub, little bit of crappie. Truth be told, bass, small bass. I've caught a couple of lakes around here where I've got some small largemouth bass, anywhere from 5, 7 all the way up to about a nice 8 to 10 inches. I have caught one 3-pound bass on my Tiny 10, a little much for the rod. I caught a 2-pounder who, truth be told, snapped section number 8. By the way, there's a great story there in terms of Tiny Tenkara's customer service, because Tiny Tenkara immediately shipped out the replacement section. I did pay for the express shipping, and I was back on the water with this rod in less than 36, 48 hours, right around there, from when I heard the snap. I saved that section as a bit of a souvenir, but my Tiny 10 has put in a lot of time out there and really enjoyed it, which gave me the confidence to go for the Tiny 10-3. The Tiny 10-3 is a zoom rod, 6, 7, 8 feet, and 9'3". Now, I will have you know, I do own some other Tenkara rods, but I've never purchased a zoom. I have 2 other rods that are fixed length. I've got one that is in the 10.5 to 11 range, and I've got another one that's right about 8 feet. So this one bridges one of mine and is shorter than my other full-fledged Tenkara rod. So I think I've got a nice sort of assortment here, but never had a zoom before, and we'll talk a little bit about that zoom feature in just a minute. But when Tiny Tenkara introduced the 3, I think I went on the Instagram post, and I actually posted with a little bit of snark, and my comment was, I have a Tiny 10 number 1, and I love it, but I really question whether the Tiny 10-3 is in keeping with the Tiny ethos, the super small, compact, portable, easy to carry, take it anywhere, throw it in a backpack, and fish anytime. And I did get a really nice message back. They acknowledged my message, which is cool because a lot of companies don't acknowledge the engagement they get on social media. So I felt really good about the company, even if we were kind of disagreeing on a point at that time. But the comment that I received back was that, yeah, maybe doing a Tiny 10 at 9'3" isn't so tiny anymore, but the zoom feature, and especially at 6'7", that's a small rod. That is longer than my Tiny 10 number 1, my classic Tiny 10. But still, that is in the fairly small category. And it's still not a big water rod by any stretch. And so they said, yeah, you know, maybe it's a little outside the branding philosophy, but they still thought it was a great addition to the line and it fit well. And having played with it, because I haven't fished it yet, super inclined to agree. Y'all know they come in a nice tube. I've been waving it around. You saw me take the other one out of the rod sleeve or the rod sock, which is not really a disposable grade item. This one is from the original purchase and is held up nicely. Now look at this one. I take my Tiny 10-3 out of that internal sleeve. Look at the cork handle on my one and on the new one. My one was that color when it was new. That's the result of just quite frankly having it in my hand. It hasn't chipped, cracked, or in any way degraded, but it's gotten wet, it's gotten dirty, it's gotten fishy, it's held up great, but it's got what I'll call at this point the patina of love, evidence that it has been used and loved pretty thoroughly. Now, first thing I noticed when I took it out of the package, we're out of the tiny category. That's a Tenkara rod every day. But it looks like it's a member of the family. It is labeled in a similar way. It's packaged in a similar way. All good in that regard. Again, having never had a zoom, the first thing I noticed was the cap on the end. There's a cap on the end of this one. This one is just the rod cap. This one is the rod cap. Almost looks like a little Lillian. It's got a little string on it there on the end of it that when you pull it off, it's got that string on there like that. Not sure where I'm going to keep that. I could put it on a carabiner that I had on my vest or on my bag so I wouldn't lose it. But normally when I'm fishing, these rod caps, as soon as they come off the rod, they go right in a pocket. So I have them and they're convenient. But the first thing I noticed was the top section here, the exposed section at the bottom, this one is pretty thin, certainly compared to the thickness of my Tiny 10-1. And the main tube section is also pretty thin. Now, truth be told, from my experience, this guy's fairly rigid. The Tiny 10-1 bow and arrow casting, awesome. I still do some conventional casting. There was a learning curve learning how to cast out a fly based on the weight of the fly, based on the length of the line. I make a lot of my own Tenkara lines from level line and tippet. I like tying those and I like experimenting with them in different lengths for different circumstances and the different rods, but this guy's pretty stiff. Not a lot of real action on this one compared to some others. This guy is a lot thinner, faster, whippier than the Tiny 10-1 is. But the zoom feature was what I thought was really cool because I, never having had one before, didn't quite understand that. I never saw a video, so maybe as a video, this is the first time somebody's ever said, hey, this is how a zoom works. I didn't understand how, if you extended your Tenkara rod, how did you go to your basic working length, which is right here, your shortest length. This is the length at 6'7". Of course, you can't see the whole thing on camera, but this is the 6'7" length. How does it lock? They lock out at 6'7" and then lock at 8 and 9'3". How exactly does that work? So it's actually pretty cool, and I want to share it with you. There's a section right here that releases and then extends. That gives me my 8, and I'm running out of room here at the camera. I think this is the best way for me to go. And then there's one more section here that locks out and extends to take me to the full 9'3". And I'm getting a little dangerous because I've got lighting and the wall coming up on me on the side over there, but it extends fully. So the question is, how does it lock out at these shorter lengths? And as you see, you'll see me do here, you bring it down and you bring it down and you bring it down, just like you would collapse a conventional Tenkara rod, extend from the tip, collapse from the bottom. But here's what's going on, and I want to open up the base and I want to show you this, because as soon as I understood what the heck was going on, the whole zoom feature, I understood what the benefits were and what it was doing for me, but I didn't understand how. And I'm a bit of a how guy. I want to know how something works and why it's working. So now we're fully collapsed here, and I want to get my tip cap out. I'm going to put that in there, but I'm going to take the butt cap off right here. And here's the secret to zoom. If you take this cap off the bottom of the rod, the two bottom sections are going to kind of come with me there, because on the bottom sections here, on the bottom of the cap, there are those rubber rings. Two rubber rings, two rubber rings, 2 and 2. And those pieces on the base cap, because if you look at the base cap on my Tiny 10-1, you're not going to switch them up. They're the same cap. Actually, the threads are different. They're the same basic size, except for the extension piece on this cap. So I'm going to put this back in my Tiny 10-1. I don't want to lose it or any sections. But this guy here, the last section, which takes me to 9.3, when you compress it down, grabs those rubber rings. The second to the last section, when you compress it down, grabs on those rubber rings. It'll stay connected. And if I whip a cast out there, it's not going to shoot out that second to last section if it's securely based on those rings. Same thing with the final section. If it is securely locked down onto the rubber rings, it's not going to fling with a cast. So the rod is locking out at these 3 lengths. So I'm going to put this back. I'm going to thread that back on there like that. And I'm going to lock out the 2 bottom sections by pushing them down onto the rings on the inside there, so they lock in. Now, if I open up my rod here and extend it, I'm going to take the cap off. I'm going to tip it out. I'm going to grab the Lillian. I'm going to pull first and foremost. Oh, look at that. It picked up some cobwebs from the corner over there. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's my 5th section. That is my 6-7 rod. Without zooming the section that is, and I probably stepped out of the camera, without zooming the section that is attached or caught on the rubber rings at the bottom. That gives me that zoom function. So not only is this kind of an assessment of my Tiny 10-3 for all of you, but it's also a little bit of a comprehensive understanding of what allows a multi-length Tenkara rod to zoom as the features describe. I don't know if that is universal to all zooming Tenkara rods. I got a feeling it probably is because it works. But that's how it works here with the Tiny 10-3. So next up for the world of Tiny 10-3 will be actual reviews from actual fishing. In the meantime, I certainly recommend the brand. I'm certainly a fan of the brand. I own 2 of their 3 rods at this point. I look forward to getting out on the water with my 1, which I've already used quite a bit, and with the 3, as soon as my water is liquid or as soon as I get out of Dodge into an area where their water in the winter months is in liquid form. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching a video here on the channel. Look for more Zoot fishing to come as we get into the season, as I become more active here in this place to share fishing and fishing adventures. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.